Hello. I'm starting up a little early here. I have in a half hour at 4:30. I've got to go. I don't know if anyone's here or not, or I'm just talking to myself. If you're here, type something. Okay, like I'm here. If you're not here, don't say a thing. Oh, hi Eddie. Okay, good. I just wanted to see. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. Okay, great. We might as well get started a little early then. Uh, what are your views, first of all, of the new categories and the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie? Um, First of all, one of the things I think that bothers me the most about the new rules is the smartwatches. Why would they allow smartwatches? Uh, as as part of a category of for mechanical watches. Um, let's see. I'd like to sort of try to focus on that for a second. They should have added the digital. They should have. Oh, yeah, well, now, by the way, too, actually, strictly speaking, digital watches and smartwatches aren't the same. A digital is simply a display. There's some very good displays that are let's see, that are simply little things that flip around, and they are digital in terms of display. But the ones that light up with an LCD or something, those are not mechanical. Okay. Um, all right. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna keep out the smartwatches, or I guess digital in the sense of digital computing. All right. Well, what do you think of the categories? First of all, they have the ones that they've always had. They've mixed up a few, and I think for most of us, the one of the more interesting categories of three categories, and for now, let's just forget that they can you can include digital watches. I mean, not digital, but smart watches. So what do you think? The three that are the most affordable, usually it's the sports watch category, the Petite Aiguille, which is now from 4,000 to 10,000 rather than 8,000 or less Swiss francs. This is about the same as dollars. And the new one, the challenge level at a high JH at those that are under 4,000. So um, let's get some feedback on those. What do you think of those three new categories? Um, okay. Any thoughts at all? Oh, I'm going to drink my coffee then. Hmm. By the way, I got a new hat. Not this one. This is an old hat. But when I went on my trip, I got a hat to something different than my old one. I'll put on my new hat. The grand opening. It still has oh boy, still has the tags on it. So I'll get those off. Yes, there's always going to be a test, a test of your opinion. They're good categories, but they still relevant to many watchmakers do not even enter. Okay, certain watchmakers don't enter. That's a good Arabia Felix made that point. Um, which ones don't enter and why? The ones a Rolex is famous for not entering, but that's nothing new. They've never entered, and yet at the same time they do support it. Okay, well let me show you my new hat when we're getting some responses here. Something a little different. This is a Spanish beret. Wait a minute. Oh well, close enough. All right, there's my new lid. All right, so who decides who is judged for these competitions? That is a very good question, JH. Who decides it? I don't know. There's sort of like a committee that makes it up, and they have people from different categories. There's some really good information about the jury and how it's selected at the gphg.org site. So that might give you um, some insight. Also, how are they how are they rated quantitatively? Boy, I don't think that there is too much. Um, there's too much of the quantitative in the sense that each one gets so many points. Now, any subgroup of judges could do that if they wanted to. They say, well, look, why don't we do this? We're having a hard time making a decision, and so we'll give this so much, so many points. These are all on, they're nominal numbers. They're not, there's nothing on, I don't think, on a ratio scale. There might be, but they haven't consulted me about it yet. So how do they make up their minds? Well, this is apparently what their expertise is, and this is why I like them. The reason I like them is that you have a situation where you have expertise from all of these different areas. Um, so this one judge that I know personally, I've talked to about this, he's a watchmaker, and so he's going to see things from a watchmaker's point of view. And other people I know, some are journalists, some are, when I say journalists, watch journalists. Others are, let me see, what else do they have? Collectors, famous collectors. There are people from, I think they had a head of it, one of the top guys is from Philips, and Philips is an auction house. So they come from a wide spectrum, I think. Designers too are involved. So again, the reason that I like them as a major, not the major or the only major, but a major, is because they have so many different people involved. Um, JH, I tell you what, you have collectors, watchmakers, auction sellers. Yes, go to the GPHG page, look at the jury, and you'll get all of their background. Okay, Clive. A lot of people here came from AC3, so you may want to start on a basic level. Okay, what is a watch? Okay, what is a watch? Now, this is where things get iffy. Uh, First of all, we're talking about mechanical watches, and this is why the whole thing of smartwatches really gets in the way. Right here, I have on my Fitbit. My Fitbit is a smartwatch. I don't have on one of my regular watches. Most of them are now sitting in a safety deposit box. I'm going to flip on one that went on a trip with me. There it is. There's my Beauvais. Okay. So let's see. What else? Okay. Um, Person. Okay. Scotland beat England in cricket. What a day. All right. So let's take a look at some of the categories. One of the things they came up with sort of renaming categories. Now, last year they had the last year they had categories for travel time, and then they had two different ones for travel watches. Okay. This year they have none because they decided, well, that really belongs with some other category. They do this every other year. Clyde, okay, maybe start with a background of the awards and their history. Well, quickly, to give you a history, they started in 2001. And who is behind it? Well, I imagine they, in the same way like the Academy of the Academy Awards Academy, whatever they're called. They have some fancy name, and I think they really started it to promote watches and perhaps watch collection, and wanted to sort of say, okay, well here's the very best, and I have no doubt that the on their agenda somewhere, especially given a name, that this was to promote Swiss watches. All right, be that as it may, we still come up and say, all right, well, what would be a better source of information for the value of watches, if not something like this, then what? And there's all kinds of different awards ceremonies and things that they have. So now, but this one is considered the best. All right. So if you have a watch that's won an award from a Grand Prix award, you'll see it advertised all over the place by the watch manufacturer. This was the winner of the award. They even advertise the fact if they had a runner-up. And by a runner-up, what they do, they have two levels. The first level is when they announce, I think, in September, the first ones, and the second is in November when they have the final awards. Well, the first set of awards are called pre-selected, and there's sort of they wipe out everybody but the pre-selected. I think they have 6 in each category of pre-selected. Okay, so that's the first category, and then they sort of narrow it down to the 6 for each one of the categories. Okay, can appreciate award-winning things like movie, right? Okay. All right, let's see where we get in here. All right, okay, boom, 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 boom. All right. Well, so let's hang on a second. I'll bring up the categories, and we can take a look at them real quickly and get your input into it. What we have here, 2018 rules. Okay, here I have these things. Now I can perhaps do a better job of answering. I'm trying to get some answers from you guys. Okay, what kind of things do they look for in giving awards? Is there a swimsuit competition? And Clyde, in the sense, when you talk about a swimsuit competition, I think that this really comes under design. And so the answer would be, yeah, sure, something's got a good design, which would be an equivalent, I guess, of a swimsuit competition. Let me, John Doe and whoever else uses that. What is AC3? AC3 stands for something that I don't know. It says John Doe only collect. Yeah, well, oh, Archie. Yeah, Archie's. I don't know what Archie says. So that's. Let's get some of your ideas. Okay, Don. Why is Cliver's not on this live stream? He's on this live stream. Okay. Okay. Minus the drama. Great. No drama. I'm for that. Just about watches. Any other ideas you have? Okay, let's say, all right, you don't have, if we didn't have something like the Grand Prix, the awards, so to speak, what would we use instead? I mean, what would we say? Look, okay, I know this is a good watch because, and unless you're really dense, you know it's not going to be the advertising. I mean, you can't believe advertising, okay? If you buy a Patek, you're really not saving it for the next generation. I don't know what you're going to do with it. Maybe the next generation gets it. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, Tanzil said if you didn't have Academy Awards, would you watch it? That's not the point, okay? The point is that what do we use, I mean, as watch collectors, especially when you're getting started, saying, hey, is this watch any good? And then you got people who are the Rolex people, you got the Omega people, you got the Patek people, you got all of these sort of the Breitling, the Tag Heuer, and so forth to say our watch is the best, Zenith, you name it. So you say, look at this. Okay, now these things are expensive. They're expensive as all get out. And so, what do we look for in a good watch aside from hyperbole? All right. So that's what the question is, Tazil. Um, at the design. Okay, you look at the design. Okay. You can find some incredibly good-looking watches with cheap movements and everything else for quite a bargain that have nice design, and so they'll look pretty, and they may even have quartz. So design, well, I think it's one of the things we're trying to find something else. Okay, we're trying to find another kind of level of trying to approach these things. Okay, what's going on here? I don't know. See, what do the judges look in design? Um, what do they look for? That's a good question. One of the things I do know they look for is the clarity of what's going on. If you have a watch, this one is pretty easy to read. You got the minutes and hours on the big subdial, and you have seconds on the small subdial. Okay, that's easy to read. On other ones, on my what is it? On my hemispheres. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Sneeze. On my hemisphere, the that can take some getting used to. Even more so on my wife's. She has Louis Vuitton. What do they call it? Time zone. Now we just got back from 20 days on a trip that started in Venice and ended up in Barcelona, Spain, and we went through a couple different time zones. Most of it was the what I call the Geneva, the Geneva or Paris time zone, but Greece had its own time zone, so we had to do some adjustment. But what I was most interested in seeing, and I think that the time zone may have made the cut. I think in one of the Grand Prix awards, the time zone. The more I look at it, the more I played around with it, the more I was impressed with it. Now, the same thing I found with my hemispheres. They did something very different. They have these two little bitty subdials of day or night, but then they have some other features of it that were really cool. So when we're talking about design, there's the way you can look at it. Can you tell at a glance what it is? With the hemispheres, you need a little more in a glance, especially with the color combination that's in mind. With the time zones, once you get used to it, man, it's fantastic. You can tell it's day or night, whether all kinds of information on this wonderful design that the Fabrique du Temps, who is the sort of the gadget guys for Louis Vuitton. Oh, okay. So that's one of the things. Okay, let's see what else you got. Okay, some people just don't get it. Peer review and high impact journals. JH, peer review and high impact journals. In a way, you have people from the high impact journals already on they're part of the judges from that. I think there's some Hoddenke, Quillen, Pat, I think is the name of it. There are a number of different people who do that. So same thing with designers. They have designers on their jury. And when you take a watchmaker, you have a designer, you have all of these different people looking at this set of watches with this really incredible background. And they have collectors too. And so why would you add a collector? What do they know? We're collectors, and all we do is argue. Yeah, but I think collectors look for certain things too. Collectors are looking for two things, I think. One, of course, is value, and I think the other one is, and by value I mean horological value. One of the things people say, well, do you What's a resale value? Well, the resale value has not a lot to do with that. It has something to do with something, but not the watch itself. Okay. What was the VC you showed in your last bid? Okay. By the way, too, now that won an award for the watch of a year, but it wasn't a Grand Prix award. It was an award by something by another. I forgot what it was, but they have more of a design award than anything else. Okay. We do not argue all the time. Well, not all the time, Clyde. Most of the time, I see people just screaming for their options or opinions to be held. That's too bad, JH, and I agree with you. None of us should spend time screaming. What we should do is say, hey, this is what's neat about this watch, and we can all learn something from that. I like to look at both sides of this watch. Okay, that's what I like about it. It's really comfortable. And here it is. Someone was asking me, he said, well, is it hard to wind with the bow and crown? The answer is no. And it says, and you only get to wind it once a week because it's on a 7-day wind on it. Now, why do I say you only get to wind it once a week? It's because to handle your watches, to do something with them rather than just look at them in the case, you're going to wind them or set them or do something like that. So that's sort of cool. Okay, John's got one. 10 average price I see for Grand Date is around, okay, that's answering another question. It's subjective, but Bill never answered if he thought Panerai makes a good watch, since it is all design and little in the movement. Which movement? Okay, show me the Beauvais. There's the Beauvais. Hey, it's the Beauvais. Super chat that. Okay. Is rooted in history. Yes. Panerai does have an interesting history. They were used by Italian frogmen in World War II, and they blew up a few British ships by planting magnetic mines to them. Okay, Chrono Blue in one. Oh, DGB. I am getting a Chrono Blue in 1 week. It is waiting for me in Paris. DG, I love that watch. Okay, all right, question. Okay, did it ever win a prize? No, not that I know of. The one that I had earlier today, I'm still a little discombobulated. I'm looking for stuff. Why did FP Journe win so many prizes? Why did A. Longa win so many prizes? These guys were relatively new compared to Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Audemars Piguet. So here you have these new guys, and especially when you have someone like Harbring too. Here's a guy, some guy and his wife and their dog. They're making these great watches, and they're winning prizes. And what kind of clout do they have? They live in Austria, for God's sakes. Nobody in Austria has any clout anymore. I love it. It's one of my favorite watches. Okay, Herman, quartz. All right. Perhaps Bill should do this. Do what? Write a good watch history book. Good God. I've written 63 books, and that's enough. I have writing a book is hard work. I'd rather just hear it and shoot off my mouth. Okay. I have a wife called Tudor NF. She is the love of my life, good looking, robust, and reliable, and I am planning to cheat on her. Is it okay to have an affair with a Parmigiani? Definitely. Oh, Parmigiani's, I took my hemispheres with me on my trip. They're fantastic watches. I mean, it's really fantastic. Very, very great. They're underappreciated. You can get them for a good price. They're made, they make their hairsprings. They make everything. They make the whole watch as part of the Sandoz family uh, sort of octopus that they have with Parmigiani. Okay, I'm in Luzon with crummy Wi-Fi. By the way, too, I set this to low so that those of you with crummy Wi-Fi will have should be okay with that. Okay, Herman says, so help me God, Tan, you'd better not cost me the Werthers. Okay. Herman Ingram says, Patek is overrated. Oh, boy. Why is it overrated? I know that people like it a lot. The same is true with Rolex. Um, I like Patek Philippe a lot as a watch. Uh, but I was told something that has given me pause on the newer one, and I'm not going to repeat it because I have an older one, and the one I have is from 1968. It's it's a wonderful watch. It keeps beautiful time. It winds beautifully. Everything about it is wonderful. And I mentioned this to a guy who knows watches about 10 million times more than I do. And he says that Patek just isn't doing too much new. And he pointed to some of the ones who are. Now, Patek Philippe used to enter and win a lot of Grand Prix awards, and then they quit doing it. They haven't entered in a long time. Same thing with Vacheron Constantin. Last year they decided to enter one, and they won. It was a very good watch too that they put in. Okay, Patek is resting on its laurels. No new models. Following the Rolex model for their sports model. Okay. I think you live also affects what watch you want. JH had a point. Okay, where you live is it's probably a good point, but where I live in New England, they have we have our hot and humid days in the summertime, and our winters are have a very rough reputation, well deserved. But maybe where you live does affect that. Okay, let's go back. Okay, you have brands like ALS that have only been around for 20 years. Okay, now that's a good point. All right. By the way, I don't have A Longa, but I do have one that hasn't been around very long, and that's FP Journe. I have a couple of those, and they're fantastic. I mean, I don't think you can find a watch that's better than an FP Journe. You can find some at the same level, but I don't think you can. And they, in their own crazy way, are sort of their own kind of bargain. Now, if I want a Wooten Lannen, which I do, those things, they're like twice as much. So anyway, um, okay, if I lived in Texas, I think all my watches would be sports watches, for example. I don't want to touch that. Clive lives in Oklahoma, which is, and I don't want to touch that either. Oklahoma and Texas have a famous rivalry. I'll leave it at that. Okay, he works in a right. If you have a friend who works in a chocolate factory, what I would recommend is the H. Moser Swiss cheese watch. Chocolate and cheese go well together. Okay, Rolex is a must for collection starters, but they are boring once you know better. Why people say that? This Rolex is a must for a collection. Why? I don't. I don't think so. I like Rolexes, but I don't think you have to have one. I like Parmigianis, but I won't say, hey, boy, if you don't have a Parmigiani in your collection, that's too bad. And no. I think what, and again, trying to get back to the point of the Grand Prix, if we look at it, if we look at the history of it, and what they've done, and they keep making changes, and that's a good thing because I think there are adjustments of different things. I do wish they had not put in the smart watches, and I really do wonder about how much they know what a smartwatch really is. I mean, my God, you can have a greeting card with these little computers they have in it have more than all the computing in the world in like 1950 in a simple card, and you put somebody with a, not even a very big chip on a small watch that they can do everything. Um, Money retention. Yeah, money retention. There was this guy who was going on. I forgot who he was. I won't mention the name or the brand of the watches. My watch retained. Look at me. Look at my. Look what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a money retention. I'm not wearing a watch. I'm not wearing a watch. I'll do this or that. I have money retention. Jesus Christ. If you want to collect watches that way, that's fine. Some people like to do it. If you're worried about that, I don't think you can be a good watch collector. I don't think, and I could be wrong, unless you have some kind of confidence. I mean, like just saying, look, I'm buying a watch because I can sell it for what I bought it for. Where's the confidence? Here's a watch. This is different. I'd never buy this watch for retention. I buy it because I like to wear it. I like to have it. I like to look at it. That's a big difference between that and saying, oh boy, I can hardly wait to sell this thing because I'm going to get back about 75% of what I spent on it. Going back to any watch as being boring, okay? If a person collects one type of watch and none other, it's not boring to them. I've referred a number of times to this guy who collected nothing but Omegas. What did he know Omegas? He knew the history of it. He knew the brothers and sisters. He knew everything about them. And he loved them. And that's all they wanted to do. The same thing is true, I guess, if you want to collect Rolexes, or you can collect Harboring too. It doesn't matter. I don't happen to think that. I like variety. I like a variety in all kinds of things. In design, I like variety. In movements, I like variety and different things. I had a thing recently on regulators. I just think those are cool. And I don't have a regulator. I have I have a mono Rupture Pont, which I just love that watch. Okay, what have you purchased that disappointed you? Okay, John Doe, that's a good question, and it's an important one, and this had to do with getting excited about something. Actually, in fact, I bought the watch by I didn't think I was going to get it. I put in what I thought was a low bid, and they accepted it. The biggest disappointment I had was with it was initial disappointment, but I've always liked the watch, but I was disappointed by what I saw was evasion. I called, and this is my Ella Raw. Love that watch. It's a big hunk of gold, clear as a bell. It keeps decent time, okay? And I was trying to find out, well, what's the movement in it? And I knew that Ella Raw made their own movement. At one time, they used Vaucher, and if a watch has a Vaucher in it, as far as I'm concerned, you're not going to get a lot better by in-house. And so, it's not that. But they wouldn't. They said, well, we think it may have been what was that? Frederic Piguet. We think it was a Frederic Piguet in it. And then they sent me this terrible blurry picture of Frederic Piguet. Well, it turns out that it had this Pazu 7001, which was bought by ETA. Now, the thing with it is that made me mad about it wasn't the fact that they said, look, it's got a Pazu 7001 in it. ETA now owns it. And so if you want to buy it, buy it. Okay. And I don't know what I would have done. But the thing is, if you go back and you look at Ella Raw and the history of Ella Raw, they've used Pazus in the past. Let's say, in the 1950s, they had some with that in there. So it's not something that without a history, but the disappointment wasn't in the watch because I love the watch. I like gold watches. I like all watches really, but there's something about a gold watch that's sort of cool. And this one's got tons of gold in it. All right, but they didn't tell me the truth, and this bothers me more than anything else. So I called them in Switzerland. Okay, what's in this watch? Well, we're management. We don't know. Something out of a Dilbert cartoon. And the thing is that they didn't lie. They simply said they didn't know. Mm. Ah, okay, so that was my biggest disappointment. But I come to really like the watch, and I actually appreciate the Pazoo 7001 better than I thought. Okay, let's see what else we got. I think that for the most part we want to pay for something we like and cannot make based on our own time constraints and talent. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. If you had $5,000, you purchase a Grand Seiko, or you take that money and buy something else? I'd buy something else. I got nothing against Grand Seikos. In fact, I like them. Um, they tend to go to the high beat though, and they're very accurate watches. I like the lower beats. I'm still trying to figure out why your top watchmakers use the 3 hertz and less, whereas your most common watch runs at 4 hertz. Okay, that's another story. So, but I like Grand Seiko. It's just I like. There are a lot of watches I like. The thing is that the watch I end up with isn't the watch because I don't like another watch. I just like the one I got better. I mean, not a lot of people have watches like this. I didn't get it because it was a watch like this. I got it for all kinds of other reasons. I like. They manufacture every bit of it, including the hairspring. Not all watchmakers do that. The balance wheel, they manufacture that. In the Beauvais, the same thing is true with H. Moser, the same thing is true with Parmigiani. So I'm not getting a piece from here, another one from there, God knows where else. All right, so that's what I like in watches. If I were on a jury and they said, this one makes their own hairspring, this one does, I'd go the one that makes their own hairspring. That's me. Okay, ML, I didn't always agree with the results of watch competitions. However, the indefatigable struggle for perfection should be celebrated among extras. Please comment on the politics of the Grand Prix. That's a great comment, ML. It's like, okay, what are the politics? It could be all kinds of things. Usually, if somebody else's watch wins and yours doesn't, it's politics. If the one you want to win wins, then it's considered, hey, boy, they're doing a good job. I don't know. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys. That's it for now. You can leave the regular comments, but I've got a rolling pin that says you better stop at 4:30 or else. It is now 4:29, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. All right. I'm thinking of changing the format. Maybe we ought to have something like this: is that one video will just be a regular video, and the other video will be sort of a streaming video where we could talk about stuff. So anyway, okay. I think the reason that Christine left playing the song is that the LNS inaccurate date. Huh? Maybe. Okay. I just think that I think that Christine wanted to have her own watch company, just like any watchmaker. Okay, that's it. The time is up. I hope I hope I did you guys justice and didn't waste everybody's time. Thanks for coming. Next Friday we'll go back to regular stuff. Bye for now.